Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Faith. Obviously, we're not outside today like we normally are. That's because it is 5:16 a.m., which is a ridiculous hour. But I have my biggest market of the week on Saturday, or of the this season actually, on Saturday. So I'm going to be doing some stitching. I am making these cute little patches for the Pride Festival that I have on Saturday. So I'm going to be working on a couple of those. Um, I truly don't know if this topic that I will be bringing up is going to be something that I bring up after today, but I think that it needs to be talked about now. So I'm gonna stitch while I complain to you about multi-level marketing companies. But actually, I'm going to be praising the state of Delaware because Delaware just took a huge step forward. Also, I have notes. I have the bill printed out. I have all the stuff. So if you see me looking down, I'm either looking at my stitching or looking at my notes. So, just so you know. All right, so Delaware just took a huge step forward, in my opinion, against multi level marketing companies. And they have a bill that just passed their house on Tuesday, June, I believe it was the 17th, that bill passed their house. It's Delaware House Bill 162. And that would put some very interesting new rules on all multi level marketing companies that operate in the state of Delaware um, if it passes their Senate. Now, the world is a shambles right now, so I don't know when it will go to their Senate. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do want to talk about it because it did pass their House, and the Direct Selling Association, the DSA, is not happy, and I am loving it. So, why do I want to talk about this? Well, I have been part of 4 different MLMs 5 different times. Yes, that means I joined the same MLM twice. Now, that wasn't my fault, but that's a story for another day. We can talk about that later. But I was in the industry for 8 years. And I've been religiously watching anti-MLM content for about the last 5 years. Um, so I feel like I have a decent handle on the ins and outs of this, and kind of. It's also in legalese because it's legal, so it's kind of hard to understand. However, I do have a degree in legal office administration, which sounds way cooler than it actually is. It's just a secretary's degree that I had to do an internship at a lawyer's office for. So I can get through legalese with a good dictionary or Google. So why am I putting out an anti-MLM video when I swore to myself that I never would? Well, it was people who spoke out on YouTube that made me truly look at the industry as a whole, instead of just the information that I was being fed from the company that I was working with. Um, People like Chelsea Suarez from IMCC Suarez, Savannah Marie, Julie Anderson, Julie Joe, Erin Bies. Like, there's so many. Like, if you're an anti-MLM creator and I forgot to mention you, I am so sorry. I probably still watch you because I watch a lot of anti-MLM content. Um, Also, Julie Anderson is who I first saw this bill by. I saw her video and I was like, ooh, I'm going to print that out and look at it because I am very intrigued. So, shout out to Julie Anderson for doing her video on the bill as well. Um, but if those people hadn't spoken out and put those videos on YouTube, um, I don't know that I would have gotten out when I did. So, if my voice can help in any way, shape, or form someone to get out or of an MLM because they realize how bad the industry is as a whole, then this video has done its job. Okay, so let's talk about Delaware House Bill 162. So I'm not going to read the whole thing for you. I do have it printed out. It's also well researched. um, I'm not going to read you the whole thing. This is not a sleepy time ASMR. It very much could be. Looking at you, Savannah. Um, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. But we are going to look at a general overview of the 6 main parts, and then we're going to look at one of them in a little more detail because it's got some really, really fun stuff in it. Okay, so the first page of this bill is just a bunch of definitions, which is pretty standard for legal documents. They have to cross their T's, dot their I's. So if they use a phrase, they're like, no, this is what that phrase actually means, just so nobody can misinterpret it, right? Now, page 2, like I said, when I show you this, page 1, definitions, not very interesting. Page 2 gets very juicy very quickly. um, line 21 gives the title of this new section of Delaware law. The title would be Required Conduct and Standards for a Multi-Level Distribution Company, Disclosure, Free Purchase, Cancellation, and Penalties for Violation. Now, under that title, there are 6 elements, A through F, that all MLMs would have to comply with if they're operating in Delaware, okay? So, letter A is a list of 11 statistic type things that must be included in a packet of information given to every prospective recruit. Okay? Now, it has to be handed to them in person. If you're communicating in person, it has to be handed to them in person. Now, if you're talking with a recruiter from like some like far away and you're just talking through like email or Zoom or whatever, um you can give it to them in an email, but it's a list of 11 things that they have to give the new recruit. It's like an income disclosure plus, and I'm super excited about it. Now, the bill that actually passed in the House last week was the, technically the third version, right? It was the second version plus a couple of adaptations that passed. So technically, it's the third version of this bill. In the first version of this bill, they wanted this packet of information to be given to the new recruit 48 hours before they could sign up. So not only do they have the 3-month cooling off period where you can cancel your contract, they also had you couldn't sign up for 48 hours after you got this information. Now, they took that part out, which I'm kind of sad about, but I like the rest of it enough that I'm not going to complain that that's not in there. But I think that's still a good idea, you know? So there are 11 enumerated things in this list. I'm just going to tell you my favorite ones, okay? Starting right off the bat with number 1. They have to have a title page on this packet of information. The first page must only have disclosure required by Delaware law. You have the right to cancel this contract for any reason within 3 months of signing it. Can you imagine going to the coffee shop to like interview with the person to like get into this company and they hand you a packet of information with this? I can see why they don't like it, you know? Also, let me tell you, as an office major, I love a bold title page. We love a bold title page. The next few are pretty self-explanatory, so I'll probably just read them, but I want you to hear what they say. Number 3 says a complete description of the compensation plan, including any inventory purchase requirements. Again, that's pretty self-explanatory, but some of these businesses with very complicated plans might scare people away from the outset. Like if your compensation plan takes 3 pages to explain all the different levels, I can see where that would be confusing, you know? Then we have number 5 is when the seller makes any statement concerning earnings or range of earnings that may be made through the multi-level marketing program, the statement no guarantee of earnings or range of earnings can be made. So throughout this packet of information, all income claims must have this disclosure. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was pretty standard practice anyways. But I have not been in any of the sketchy companies like Nueva that doesn't even have a product yet. So like I've not seen many, but like when I went to join Mary Kay, all of their information had the little asterisk and then the thing down at the bottom that says no claim or we can't tell you how much you're going to earn, basically, right? Number 6 says if training is promised by the seller, a complete description of the training and length of the training. So the company must show what classes they have and how long they are, how long it takes to do. So again, the more like not as shady companies like Mary Kay, they have an entire like beauty class thing in their back office. Um, it's not great or anything, but at least they're trying to help you out a little bit, you know? Um, but honestly, I can see how this would go the other way though, because like I said, Mary Kay has a ton of classes on their website for the consultants to go through and learn. Um, so they would have to list out all of those courses, and I'm pretty sure there's I don't know. I haven't been in for 5 years, so I'm not going to speculate on how many they have now. Um, but they had the MK University in the back office that was for this, so they'd have to list all of those classes on there. But also, like, if you're a shady company that only has 2 training videos, you got to list those too. I don't know. I think that this will actually help some of those other companies, like I said, Mary Kay, um, that have those classes. I don't know. I guess we'll see. So numbers 10 and 11 are the percentage of buyers who earn more than the initial payment and the inventory purchase requirements. And then number 11 says the median and typical earnings of every person involved in the program. So I have heard tell that some companies don't put their kidnappers on their income disclosure statement. Like if they buy the kit and then don't buy anything else ever again, they just don't put them on the list sometimes. This would make that not allowed. You have to put all the people on there. Now, we're going to skip back to number 9 because I said number 1 was my favorite. I do love number 1, but number 9 is actually my favorite because they have to list how many other purchasers are selling in the state. Show me that saturation, baby. Like, how many other people in this state are selling this product? Now, something that I forgot to mention a little bit ago, kind of on purpose, these documents have to be updated quarterly. They have to give a new income disclosure statement quarterly. They have to put out that thing that I just said, how many other purchases are selling in the state. They have to put those numbers out quarterly. 4 times a year, they have to update this information. We can barely get some of these MLMs to update their one income statement yearly, And now they got to update it quarterly. Okay, okay. I can see why they'd be mad at that. Here's my question. How hard is it for them to pull this information together? Right? Because honestly, in my mind, they have access to the back office. Is there not a way that you could just download the people who are active right now? And then like I don't know. I don't run an MLM's books. I don't know how difficult it is to run an MLM's books. I don't ever want to find out how difficult it is to run an MLM's books. But I do know that the one-page presser from the Direct Selling Association, not Sailing Association, Direct Selling Association, I do know that their one-page presser that they released, this thing, calls it an onerous disclosures. Now, I don't know about you, but I had to look up the definition of onerous again because I knew it had bad connotations, but I didn't remember exactly what it meant. Onerous means involving an amount of effort that is oppressively burdensome. Again, I don't run their back office. I don't know how easy it would be to make this happen, but I am married to a computer programmer. Um, and I feel like they could make a program that's like pulling information from their databases, right? Like, I don't think it should be that hard, but they're acting like it's the end of the world. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is that hard. How hard is it to keep the books for an MLM? Why is it so difficult to keep the books for an MLM? Seems suspicious to me. Letter B is, it says, a violation of subsection A of this section shall be deemed an unlawful practice under section 2513 of Title VI and a violation of subchapter 2 of Chapter 25 of Title VI. A lot of words. All that's saying is if they don't do this, it's punishable under the consumer fraud part of their law. So that's a fun fact. Letter C is that the MLM cannot require the recruit to buy anything unless the company agrees to repurchase the goods that are in resaleable condition. Now, I'm going to read all 3 lines of this, and I want you to tell me if you notice anything missing in this, okay? A multi-level distribution company may not require a participant in its marketing program to buy a good or service or pay any other consideration to participate in the marketing program unless the multi-level distribution company agrees to repurchase the goods in the same form of payment as originally purchased that are in resaleable condition. Now, do you notice anything that is missing from that? There's no time limit. There's no time limit. Right now, the Direct Selling Association, the DSA, it's a lobbyist group that goes to Washington, D.C. to be like, you don't want to get rid of MLMs. They're great businesses. And you don't want to give us oversight. We oversight ourselves. It's fine. It's fine. To be a part of the Direct Selling Association, you have to have a buyback policy for any goods bought in the last 12 months that are still resellable, right? This bill would take away that 12-month cap, right? Which I can see why they wouldn't like this because let's be real clear here. How many people get into an MLM, stay in it for 3 to 5 years, realize they've been duped, realize they'll never make any money, and then they get out? Now, if you were like me, I was in 2 companies for 3 years. I acquired a lot of stuff from them over those 3 years. Thankfully, the first company that I was in, I didn't have to have inventory necessarily, but I did buy myself the jewelry pieces so that I could show them off. It was not paparazzi. It's a company called Premier Designs that doesn't exist anymore. But I still have a like a 10 to 15 pound box of jewelry on my dresser from them that I haven't opened in several years. So I don't even remember what's in there. So maybe we'll do an unboxing at some point. But for those companies that, the second company that I was part of was Mary Kay, and I absolutely had inventory with Mary Kay. I had a ton of inventory from Mary Kay. And in all honesty, yes, it's got a 2 year shelf life, but I had bought products like 14 months before I got out, and I couldn't resell those back to the company. So I just had a bunch of products sitting on my shelf that I had to either give away or throw away because I couldn't sell it. Nobody wanted it from me. So it was really frustrating for that. But having that no time limit buyback would have been amazing for me. Now, I can see why companies don't want that to happen, right? Logistically speaking, I can see why an MLM would not want this to go through because this could be absolutely disastrous for a company with non consumable products like wax melts, leggings, jewelry, right? They have no expiration date. So they can you're telling them that they can sell it back to the company whenever instead of just the stuff that they bought in the last 12 months. What about those consultants who have been in it for a couple of years now and they have all this stockpile? Now they can sell it all back to the company if it's in resaleable condition, right? Now, I don't know how they're going to handle the words resaleable condition. I don't know if they're going to just be like, oh, it's expired or oh, it's opened, or if they're going to be like, oh, that's a Christmas product, a Christmas product that we're not going to bring out ever again, so it's not resaleable. I don't know. I don't know. It's just questions that I have. The other part of this that I have questions about is commissions. How are they going to deal with commissions for those returned products from the rep who quits upline, right? What if their upline has already quit too, right? I don't think that the company could go after that upline and be like, yo, you remember when you were selling product for us and we gave you that $50 bonus that one year because your friend bought product? They sold it all back to us, so we're gonna need that $50 back. I don't think they can do that, but they do it for the reps who are still in all the time. So I'm just I'm just concerned about how they're going to deal with commissions from the returns. Now, they might just do like what several companies did in Washington state and just be like, yeah, no, we don't sell here anymore. They're too strict. Right? I guess they could do that, but I don't know. We'll see. So, letter D is another list of 3 things that the company's contract has to have in it. Okay. The first thing is that you can cancel your contract anytime within the first 3 months. hmm It's not 3 days like it's always been for MLMs. It's 3 months that you can quit for any reason, right? I think that's amazing. So, my big question here is what is this going to do to the quick start programs that they have, right? Like, most companies have some sort of a quick start where they're like, if you join and you buy X amount of inventory and recruit X amount of people, you get a bonus, right? But I don't know if you've ever tried to do a quick start program, but I have, and it was difficult. I did not complete it. Most people don't. So having that 3 month cooling off period is like, okay, well, you've got a quick start. You can see how hard it is and how much it doesn't work, and then you can quit. Right? I feel like that's in my mind how that's going to go is Those people who are brand new, they have their opening party. Maybe it does great. They get a couple of parties from that. They go to their next parties, and then they don't get any parties. And then they have to work their butts off to try to get more parties on their books. And then nobody's calling them back, and people aren't talking to them anymore. And then they're like, yo, I might have made a poor decision here. Right? So, but now they can cancel their contract for any reason within 3 months. Letter E basically says that the documents in the packet in letter A and those three things that we just talked about in letter D have to be in writing, right? So that contract with those three things and then the 11 things in letter A, those two things must be in writing, given to each rep before they sign, and they can't just send them to the website for this stuff anymore. They can't just be like, oh, yeah, we have an income disclosure statement. It's in our back office. When you sign up, you can see it. That's not helpful. Why is it hiding? Right? Okay, so I'm going to read letter F because it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just talking about the, like, what will happen if you don't give the person this information before they sign up, right? It says any person who suffers damage or injury as a result of a violation of this section has a cause of action to recover 3 times the amount of actual damages, court costs, and reasonable attorney's fees. So damages, court costs, and attorney's fees. That could be a lot of money. That could be a lot of money that these companies owe somebody because they didn't disclose fully what they really are. So basically what this bill is saying is don't hide all of this information in your back office for the already reps, the people who have already signed up. Don't just save this information for them. Share with the class. Disclose this stuff. So people like me don't have to learn they're in a cult of a business because a stranger on the internet had more compassion for me and my well-being than the company that I thought would ultimately care for my family. I share the information up front. Be transparent. If you're not a scam, show it. I I don't know. All in all, I am incredibly proud of the Delaware House for passing this bill. Uh, there's 27 yeses and 11 nos. So this is an incredible step forward, in my opinion, in protecting people. And I really hope that it passes the Delaware Senate whenever it comes up. Again, it doesn't have a date yet, but um, if it passes in Delaware, it absolutely opens the door for other states to do the same. And I think that is amazing. So give me 2 seconds. Let me finish up the last 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. All right, we got 1, we got 2. Oh, my bad, 3 stitches. Nope, it's 4. It's 4. 3, 4. I can stitch a lot faster when I'm not talking, but I got enough done that it's okay. I got both my green lines done. If you made it this far, thank you so, so much for watching. If you have any thoughts or questions, please put those down in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think about this. If you want to hang out with me in the future, I would love a subscribe. I don't know how I went from 27 followers 2 weeks ago to 127 this morning when I woke up. I am blown away. And I cried a little bit because I am so excited. So thank you so much for being here. Oh, also, I have a question. If you would like to hear my MLM story, would you like to hear my MLM story? First off, we'll say that. Would you like to hear my MLM story? And if we do that, would you like to do an unboxing of that jewelry that I have? Because I literally just threw it all into a box and it's been sitting on my dresser for years now. But if you'd like to do an unboxing of that, I can show you the kind of jewelry that we had. and talk a little bit more about this. If not, that's totally fine. I'm going to keep creating reading content and keep creating stitching content. Um, because that's what I really want to do. I don't really want to get into the drama of anti-MLM creation. I'm not there yet in my abilities or in my mental health. So, um, anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.